Before we start, please note that the opinions, beliefs, and viewpoints expressed on this podcast are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Trampoline Media.
You are listening to Indian Teens Unfiltered, a trampoline media podcast where teenagers across India
speak their mind about things that matter to them
and issues close to their heart.
Hello and welcome. I'm your host Neha Jain, and today we'll be talking about something that afflicts at least 14% of our teenage population according to the World Health Organization. I'm talking about mental health. I think we'll all agree that while there's always been a focus on physical health, our mental health does not get the same attention and respect. In fact, many times, mental health related issues are simply swept under the carpet. But today we want to literally yank this carpet off. And this we will do with the help of our three amazing guests. But before we move on, content warning. This episode covers sensitive topics including but not limited to suicide, abuse, and severe mental illnesses. You are advised to refrain from watching or listening to the YouTube channel or the podcast if you are likely to be offended or adversely impacted by any of these topics.
I'm Siobhans, I'm 17 and I'm from Lucknow.
Hi, I'm Anushmita. I'm 16 and I'm from Guwahati.
Hi, I'm Paraj. I'm 18 and I'm from Patna.
Thank you and welcome all of you. Everyone today seems to be talking about mental health, right? And do you feel that as well? Do you feel that everyone's talking about mental health a lot? And why do you think this is so?
No, I don't think anyone talks about mental health, especially not around me, because for people it's sort of a very backward thing to talk about mental health. It's very modern, and I've heard people say that today's generation just wants to gain sympathy from this word mental health or depression.
Yeah, Siobhans, go on.
I think everyone's aware that everyone is suffering or most people are suffering, but no one really goes to the next step and actually thinks of about what we can do about this.
Yeah, so I definitely agree with Sivansh that people are aware about it. We need courage to open up, and I think it is still so stigmatized in our society that people feel shy to, or they feel that it's like it is the mental health issues. They are taken as moodiness and introversion.
What is mental health according to you?
So I would say that mental health, it is as important as our physical health because it impacts our behaviors, our actions, and most importantly our decisions as well.
A lot of obviously lot of psychiatrists have very differing views about what it is, and obviously they do because it's such an abstract thing to define. But to me, I think mental health is kind of like the lens through which you view the world. It affects how you gain information, it affects how you process that information, and it affects how you use that information in your daily life.
Yeah, and yet it has so much stigma around it. So when I meant that everyone seems to be talking about it, because a lot of stuff on social media or, like news, you hear these words, mental health, and it's triggering, and, depression, you hearing it.
Yes. But, I would like to say that there is a huge amount of difference between mental health and depression. I mean, everybody, a person who is not depressed can also have mental health. Maybe it's a good one.
True. Actually, I would like to add here that mental health is actually a spectrum. What you said, it's just a state of being, right? And each of us go through that spectrum. For some, it could be more extreme. But yes, I mean, me having a bad day is a sign of my mental health, right? And it could be something, as much as a depression to just having mood swings or having a bad day. There's also a reason why all three of you are there on this episode today. So, would you want to sort of talk about why did you want to be a part of this episode?
So yeah, definitely mental health is very important. So that is why I wanted to be an episode, and personally me who has gone through all these issues in the past, and I know how it feels like. It literally feels like hell. So if there is someone out there suffering from that, to definitely open up or seek help.
Can you talk a little more about it, Anushmita, your own experience?
Yeah, so back in 2017, I was having a lot of family issues. I was not talking to anyone at that time, like no one, not even my family, and barely talking to my parents as well. I would not talk to my friends, and I would be like in my room the whole day. I would just study, and that also, like, I wouldn't be focused. I would just like keep thinking, overthinking of things which have happened and like what bad it could get or what worse it could get. And then the I would have that anxiety in me, like having like going through it for real, and that that actually really hits me hard. You know that I went through so much, like, and if somebody is going through that, I really hope that he or she recovers from it.
Yeah. What about you, Siobhans?
I'm very personally familiar with it, so that's why I chose to talk about it. Yeah.
Would you like to tell us more about your experience?
Um. Okay, so in 2020, like we just had we had started online classes and everything, and like I was not having a good time. Like no one was having a good time. But I was having an especially like I was struggling a lot. So it went on for like this. My health started like deteriorating, and like I stopped being able to eat like solid food for a while. And after like I had some like 2 to 3 breakdowns, my brother just like put his foot down and told me that I had to go see a therapist. And then it turned out that I had like OCD and ADHD for like all these years, and it had just like come to a like boiling point in the like online classes and everything. With and I had also started at 11th, so with all the added academic pressure and everything, so it kind of just like cracked me open. I got treated. I had to go see a therapist, and I was on. I am on like antidepressants and methylphenidates. It's used to like treat ADHD. I'm still on that. So yeah, I got better. I really thought I was going to like I was not going to be able to get past that phase of where it felt so dark and bad, but I got better. So yeah, so that's like if anyone is suffering out there, like you'd be surprised by how better it can get or how good it can get.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Anushmita.
Yeah, I just want to add to that yeah, the situation, if somebody is going through it, yeah, I know that it feels like hell right now, but just you should know that when you will get out of this and the things around you, it can be much better if you feel good from inside. If you are happy, then then the things around you will also like change. It all depends on how you look at things.
Yeah.
Yeah, like adding to that, the phase after like where I got treated was has been the best time of my life. It definitely changed my overview on life, like how you like see it and how you like just. I used to be way more cynical back. Like I used to think like things didn't matter or anything, but I got a like new point of view for the world, so that was really cool. And yeah, finding hope is always cool.
Yeah. True. What about you, Paraj?
Um, I would definitely agree to both of them that therapy is like godsend. I just completed my whole therapy session yesterday,
Congratulations.
and it was the best ever. Thank you. Thank you. I just wish that I had gone into that therapy thing long back because I mean, I suffered from depression for nearly 8 years. I was in grade five, and that was when it started with general bullying, of course. And I wish I had a supportive family. I won't talk about friends because I didn't have any friends for 3 years. Just because I started behaving differently, maybe I started to push people away from me, and obviously that took a toll on my grades, my general performance, everything. It just got worse and worse and worse and worse to the point of actually, uh, just ending my life, but I knew that I should stop there because after all, I mean, who's it going to benefit? Just killing myself. So I really control myself, and actually, it was not that I didn't ask for therapy or I didn't ask anyone to just help me with a doctor. I obviously asked my parents, but I'm okay with them not considering depression as a theory. I finally got into therapy on my birthday last year, 2021. I turned 18, and that was the day I started therapy because under 18, they have to take permission from their parents, and my parents wouldn't give permission. And I'm glad that, it turned out to be really good. It changes your perspective.
But Paraj, why do you think like your parents were not getting you the help that you felt you needed all these years?
I was close to my mother, very close, in fact. So that my mom was the first person I to know about my condition. Obviously, she asked me why my grades were, coming down, and that was her first cue, not any of the other things. I finally built up the courage to tell her all of that, but to her, depression was not a theory. It didn't exist. It was just, like a excuse.
A thing that rich people suffer from. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just an excuse. When I was in third grade, I had a Hindi teacher. Okay, and she coached me for almost 10 years. And recently, last year, I visited her. Her daughter was suffering from depression. I mean, she is like 24, 25 because of Sushant Singh Rajput's death. And she was like, भाई आजकल के बच्चे तो ऐसे ही होते हैं, यू गाइज जस्ट नीड अ एक्सक्यूज, you guys just think of it as a trendy thing, like depression is a trending thing. I was obviously set aback that the teacher that I worshipped literally for 10 years, she is saying all those things. And I have never called her after that because I know that is bad for my mental health. And I will not do that no matter how close a person is. Nothing is above my mental health. I know that.
What about Shivansh, Anushmita? Like, how are the people around you when you were suffering?
Honestly, like when I hear like his story, it's like mine was actually a bit easier because my brother he's in college and he noticed that I was getting sicker, and to a point it could have been ignored if like I was just down, but I stopped eating, so like it was translating into a physical thing. And there was this phase in my half yearly exams where I just didn't give any exam, and for like 14 straight days I was just in my room and like sleeping, and I was just experiencing like these waves of like wakefulness and like sleepiness and again. I remember the moment, the actual like incident that led me to therapy was, I remember we were all eating lunch around like, and they were talking about college, and they were talking about some student who failed to get into a college, and I started crying like really badly into my like food, which I was not able to be like eating, by the way. So like that's when like my brother was like, okay, that's it, you're going to a counselor. Like, and he was authoritative about it because you know how you need to have your parents' permission about everything. Like he was like, no, I'm taking you to therapy. Like shut up, everyone shut up, you're going to therapy and I'll take you. And he got me meds and everything, and he was the one like I tried twice to, you know, like so like the first person I went after my first attempt was my brother, and again the second attempt I went was that I went to my therapist like directly because I was seeing my therapist. But if he wasn't there, I'm pretty sure I would have been dead now. If you like consider how my situation is, how we socially are, how we financially are, it's like nothing less than a miracle that I was actually able to go to therapy and get meds and everything. Because my brother convinced my parents like me I should go, and now my like like my parents are so supportive of it. Like my mom has depression, like general, like seasonal depression disorder. She got treatment after I started going to my therapist. Like my dad was also like, okay, you have a problem that he also has, so maybe you should go to a therapist too. It didn't get better instantly that I walked into the therapist's office and like three fairies came around me and like gave me a gown or anything and my brain changed. Like it took a long time. Like actually it took me like 10 to 12 like sessions, after which I was able to actually tell her the problem, the main problem. I mean, there were a lot of problems, but it was a lot of things. But after that it got better. And then, but the thing is, like, it's not like it gets exponentially better. You're still going to have bad days even if you like set yourself on a path. Like, it's not a guarantee, but it's certainly like something you should do. It's like stupid how much work it takes, but it's worth it.
Once you can put a name to it, you understand it better. You're able to deal with it.
Yeah, I remember feeling kind of excited after I got my what's it called, like the diagnosis. When I was diagnosed with OCD and ADHD, they told me these two things are wrong with you, and what's kind of relieving that I don't have to explain myself in bits and pieces to everything. Like, okay, I forget to brush my teeth a lot, but it's not because I'm lazy, it's because I have this. It's not that it's something like personally intricately wrong with me. Like, my brain is just like that. And there's like all these behaviors that like just had been attributed to me negatively. That's just something that's bad with you. That's just something wrong with you. Like, I'll tell you this incident I had. Like, I have OCD, so there's this thing where I when I start writing, yeah, studying, I obviously do it with a pen, and if it's not the correct pen, I get really really mad. So this thing I did is that I went around my home and I took every pen and I put it in a like bag, and I had to give it to my mom and tell her to like take them out of the house and give them to kids in need or something, because if they're in the house, I will blow my brains out. And I started writing with a pencil, and that's the only like workaround I have been able to like get, because it's like that. It's just sometimes like that.
We're all glad you have a supportive family who sort of understands that. What about you, Anushmita? What was the support system like for you when you were having a hard time?
So actually, it was written on my face that I was definitely not well, but obviously it was unnoticed. My dad is also a businessman, so he doesn't give that much time to our family. And my mom was around, but then we were having all these issues, and she did not pay that much attention to me. I'm really close to my mom, but then I did not have so much courage to like tell her that I don't know what's wrong with me, that I have not been feeling well, because she was already going through so much, so I did not want it to put like a burden on her. So I have an aunt. She is my mom's elder sister, so I'm very, very close to her. And then I told her what I was going through, and she was the one who helped me.
Okay. And did you also go to a therapist or did you take some medical help?
So, not really. Um, I live in a place there's still stigma of mental health, and actually, one time when I was uh, like in sixth or seventh grade, I told to my dad that I want to become a psychologist, and he was like, "Oh, you want to treat people who are mad?" He like made fun of them, and then also when I was going through this, I would be like really sad and left out always, and some of my friends used to bully me for that you have changed and you are so rude to us now. And I remember one of my teacher, she was actually like a school counselor we have in schools. So I talked to her about my problem, and she was helping me through it. So yeah, like she helped a lot. I think what one thing I want to say, which happened very recently, is one of my best friends actually said to me that I'm sick of your mental health issues. I don't want to talk about it. And If you ever talk about it, I'll just block you. She just said that to me.
Wha- I'm speechless, sorry. What would you like to say to such people? How can one support someone who's suffering from a mental health problem?
So definitely not make fun of those people like I was made fun of for having mental health issues for when I was in depression back then. Support them if they are opening up to you, they are gathering that much courage and telling it to you and they trust you. So just don't break their trust. At least listen to them. If you can't help them, at least listen to them. That's the most you can do.
So I kind of like understand where they're coming from. Like it gets repetitive and like it seems annoying to them, but believe me, like the person suffering from it knows it way more better than you how repetitive it can get or how annoying it can get because it's in the brain and it's like constant. I think you should always attempt to be gentle with them, whatever you're trying to say. Because brutal honesty does not work with people like us. Like, it's like if you think you're being honest, but people like us will only notice brutality. Obviously, you're going to have issues with people. Like, that's how humans work. And we will have issues with each other. It'll be good to express them. Like, it's not going to any of the parties involved if you just suppress everything and never talk about it. So, like, you should talk about it, but you should always try to be gentle about it.
I would actually give you an example what you should not do. Uh, when this actor, Sushant Singh Rajput, he died, I noticed one thing that was very, it was like spreading like wildfire. People uploading on their WhatsApp statuses and their Instagram stories, if you are in depression, talk to me. I was like, what? I mean, how is that even possible? How do you expect anyone except your close friends to just come up to you and talk about how, whatever? I mean, how they're facing that utter thing. And it was just, just for 2 days, I noticed. And after that, it was just like normal. That's what you should not do. If you decide to support someone who is suffering from depression or mental health issues, try to be consistent. It's not that you can support them for a month or 2 months and then just get away with it. And secondly, I would like to say if you feel that you cannot support that person, or the person himself or herself is saying that I don't want any of your advice, just stop right there. We don't want your judgments. Like, I have noticed a number of times when my mom, she was trying to help, and I respect that so much. But when she noticed that I was not actually understanding anything what she was saying, she just went on to murmuring, like, doesn't understand anything. He's like this, he's like that. That flips the person out. We are accustomed to seeing things in a negative manner. It will take us a lot of time to just start seeing everything with a positive outlook. It will take a lot of time.
Yeah, that's actually some great advice, guys. What kind of changes would you like to see with respect to mental health in our society, in our country?
I have one. School counselors, very important, because kids won't go to their parents at first unless and until they are very, very close to their parents or best friends kind of equation they have. They will want to go to a person who does not know them out of the fear of judgment. I would suggest, highly suggest actually, that schools should appoint certified counselors or psychologists.
True. And especially considering that 20% of our population currently is between 10 to 19 years of age. You know,
Yeah,
that's one fifth of the country.
yeah. I recently heard something on the news that I don't know. I'm forgetting the name of the university. A lot of students were actually committing suicide by hanging themselves on the fan. So they removed the fans. So they just removed the fans. I was like, why? Because they don't want students to commit suicide by hanging on the fans.
Oh, that's just every third engineering college, dude.
So that was utterly ridiculous, I would say, because I mean, that's not the only possibility. People can do anything. People facing mental health issues can go to any extent. I did. I tried committing it 3 times. I think I was in standard sixth when I was this close to succeeding, and I was actually taken to the hospital. And the doctors were, I think, they were pretty much sure what I was trying to do. But because I had my mom in front of me, I said I was playing with a knife. Then after every 3 4 years. I would like to say that I survived life for almost 7 years of depression, and I applaud myself for it. But when I sank into it again, I was like, no, I don't have any capacity. I don't have the mental strength to go into it again all by myself. That's when I decided I will go into therapy. It is very important.
Good to hear that you're in a much better space now. Anushmita, you never took any help or any therapy, as you just said. So, how are you now? Like, what space are you in now?
I would say I'm much better, like a lot better than I was before. And it's all time, like time heals.
I applaud her for that. She went all of that by herself. It's commendable because I know.
I just want to like convey this to the parents if they are listening that please, please give time to your children. Please, like if they are in their teenage, especially then, like you don't know what they are going through. If like asking them how they were, how was their day, I think it means a lot. And if someone says that I'm with you when you are going through all this, I think it means a lot.
True.
We'll cry at that point. When someone says, I'm with you, we'll cry at that point.
Yeah,
We'll cry at that point.
literally.
We're just sending out like virtual hugs to you guys right now. It's just sort of heartbreaking listening to all of this.
At the end, it's not heartbreaking because we're the ones who survived, right? Because there's a lot who don't.
Yeah.
It's great to hear you talk now about a dark time, and I mean, it's just that you're so brave. You know, you've seen that dark side. You've sort of come out of it. And what do you do when you feel low?
The first ounce of relatability you can find is like so relieving. Like there's like people like me. I think like to me that was way more important than the actual treatment. Like there's people like me, that people also think these things, they're like us. Then that's the like one of the best parts of about being human. There's like a lot of things wrong with it, like how our teeth and back are designed, but the second like but one of the best things about it is that if you can find common ground in experience, there's not a lot that can bring you down. And that's like one of the easiest and simplest things I think we've forgotten about a little bit. Okay, the best weapon you have is just like patting people on the back and just going, hey, that happens to me too, that's fine. Do you want some ice cream? Yeah. The second part is I made that up, but ice cream helps, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like yeah, what was I talking about?
Your coping mechanism.
I have to say, music works so good. Like, music is so good. Like, there's this game we play with my friends, and I say we. There's two people. Like, we go through playlists on Spotify, and we guess who is depressed and who's not.
Yeah.
So yeah, and yeah, so you can do that. And I mean, like, that's like it like it's we do that as a joke, but it's a like really like huge statement on how much art is a coping mechanism for people and for teenagers.
Absolutely.
Like, because that's the thing, like they have the easiest access to, like they can read stories about people, they can watch shows about people, they can watch movies about people who suffer from it, and they can like hear songs about it.
I would like to add one thing to all the teenagers. Please don't go on Instagram and search for validity for pages labeled as psychological facts. Please just don't. It is utter, I'm sorry, but it is utter bullshit. Don't go on these pages labeled like psychological facts or psychological bravery. No, don't. Just if you need psychological treatment, go to a therapist.
And honestly, there's one more thing. Never try to fill the hole that's like troubling you with a belief system, be it religion or be it any political belief system or be it any identity. Like your identity should be yours. Like, see, that's also where the stereotype comes from of that depressed artist. That artist is so depressed with life that he can only find meaning in his art. It's not true. It's like really not true, because you know how Van Gogh was one of the, like, he killed himself in the end. Van Gogh did not produce any of his paintings in his depressed period. He made all his paintings before the time he went crazy, cut his ear off and drank yellow paint. Do not believe that your suffering is holy or your suffering is necessary or your suffering is artistic in any nature. Happiness is way more artistic, and it will give you way more freedom and independence in any endeavor you will find, and way more hope that sadness can give you.
So beautifully said, Shivansh. Wow. Anyone wants to add to it?
Yeah, it's pretty much like the same, like the art, the thing which I actually like at that time, I still do. I actually write songs and poems about all the things which I'm going through. And also, like, gratitude have definitely helped me. Like, learning to say thanks and like being grateful for having things that a lot of people don't have. I think that has definitely helped.
Paraj, yes.
You have to be accepting yourself first. You have to be accepting so that you can expect acceptance from other people. That is very important.
True. Yes. I think some great advice from all of you. And this also brings us to the end of today's episode. And thank you, like, really, thank you, Anushmita. Thank you, Paraj, Shivansh. Uh, it's been quite an eye opening experience, I would say. And really grateful to you all for sharing your stories. I would also like to give out the helpline number of Arpan NGO, which Paraj found extremely helpful. The number is 98190 86444. This is a free helpline for teenagers who are facing any kind of mental health related issues. We will also be adding a few more resources and numbers in our link tree on Instagram, so you can refer to that as well. Also, I would like to thank Dr. Neepa Choksi, who is a personal development coach and mental health advocate, for helping us navigate through this very sensitive topic.
Indian Teens Unfiltered podcast has been created by Neha Jain and N. Doshi from Trampoline Media. This episode was hosted by Neha Jain and the audio edited by Proshanjit. Intro music by Kevin MacLeod. This episode wouldn't have been possible without the support of our crowdfunding producers, Michelle and Helen Kyohas and Sunil Doshi. A big thank you to Harsh Takru, Vibhor Gupta, Tanya Chopra, Amit and Deepthi Gupta, Geeta and Rohit Jain, and everyone else who generously contributed and helped to sustain this podcast.